Hi everyone. My name is Meena. My soul name is Meena. My birth name is Denise. I'm creating this channel to share some of my experiences. And I've been told throughout my life that by many different people that I need to start sharing my stories. And I'm hoping that by doing so, that it helps those that have felt lost, felt like they didn't belong, those that felt like this wasn't home for them, had a feeling that there was a purpose, they were here for a reason. I always knew as a child that I had a purpose. I always knew that I was here to help others. It wasn't even a given. I think I might have been like 5 years old or like 6 years old and said to my mom, they asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would be like, I don't know, but I'm going to help people, Mom. I'm going to help people, Mommy. So I knew at a very young age. But there are many of us that are going through something right now. Something that people would describe as woo-woo, new woo-woo, whatever, crazy, or not real. And I'm starting this channel to tell others about my experiences, showing them that they're not crazy. I'm hoping to create a safe space, if you can create a safe space on YouTube, who knows, we're gonna try. A place that allows people to email me their stories, their experiences of what they're going through. Maybe it's going to help people, other people like us. And then for those that don't believe in what we're going through, maybe it'll start to question their reality a little bit. You create a spark. Hey, spark. All you need is a spark to start a fire. So maybe by speaking out and sharing our experiences, others will start to question or start to realize they're not alone. Many of us know we're not alone. We just haven't found our community yet. So that is what I'm hoping to achieve doing this channel. So I'm going to tell you a story, several stories, and several different videos. And I'm going to start with a little girl who was 2 or 3 years old and could communicate with spirits that were no longer here. She could be described an object that she never saw before, and she would be able to tell you where it was. She could picture in her mind, she could tell you exactly where it was. Someone who was never asked to play the memory game, a card game, because once she did, that was it. No one else wanted to play with her. And that was me. I had these gifts, and I didn't really know what they were. And I don't really think my parents knew what to do with them either. So, as society usually does, we are kind of boxed in with the programming. We're told it's our imagination. We're told stuff doesn't exist. Things aren't that's not how the world works. And we start to believe it. And we start to lose that, our gifts. This little girl is me, obviously. I'm also very empathic. And I think that there are many of us who are empathic who don't realize that we are. I went through several times where I took on the people's emotions around me and took them on as my own, not realizing they weren't mine. And it wasn't until 30 years later, over 30 years later, that I was on a date with a gentleman and we were talking, sharing different stories. And he said, "You're empathic." I said, "Empathic? What is that?" And he said, "Look it up." And I did. And I went home, and that's the first thing I did. Looked up at the word empathic. And I was like, oh my God, that is me. Wow. Wow. So, fast forward to 3 years ago. Well, maybe not. Maybe we'll not quite fast forward. Yeah, let's fast forward. 3 years ago. We all know what happened 3 years ago. I was in healthcare at the time, and I was disagreeing with a lot of things I saw. I was questioning. I'm like, doesn't sit with me. Wow, these numbers aren't driving. What's going on here? And I went down the rabbit hole. And as I went down the rabbit hole, I started my waking up process. I remember finally, May 28th, saying to myself, I was done nursing. I knew it wasn't a fit for me. I've been in the medical field 36 years, but I just knew this wasn't what I needed to do. But I had done it for so long. And I was taking care of people, doing exactly what I thought I was here for. But I still didn't feel comfortable doing it. So May 28th, I decided, boom, I was done. So that night, when I said to the universe, I made that decision. I heard my name called. Clear as a bell. Denise. I remember waking up and being like, oh my God, who just said that? What just said that? Because it wasn't male and it wasn't female. I just heard my name. Clear as a bell. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm on the right path. Because there's more to my story, but I won't bore you with that on this video. But I will definitely get to my assignments throughout my life. I will explain that more in a little bit here. But I was like, whoa. So I remember driving to work and saying to myself, I had like an hour and a half drive in traffic, driving to Seattle. And I remember looking up at the sky and being like, okay, big man. I call him big man. I'm not religious. There's nothing wrong with religion, but I'm not religious. I believe there's something bigger than us, definitely. But at that time, I called him the big man. And I said, okay, I have a huge child support payment. What am I going to do? You know, I made a lot of good money being a nurse. How am I supposed to do this? So all of a sudden, my phone goes off, you know, and it's a YouTube notification. I'm like, whoa, I'm sitting in traffic, you know, what else? Swipe. Doing the not what you're supposed to be doing. So I hit play, and I'm listening to it as I'm driving. And there's a gentleman on there, and he's talking about using a pineal fork, sound healing, to open your pineal gland. And then the next video after that video was sound frequency, using tuning forks. I remember, like, really, big man? You want me to use sound therapy with forks? Honestly? Okay. So I went ahead and I ordered a pineal tuning fork. That trust started my life. I want to say the freight train of my life. Going from slowly pulling out of the station to heading for the mountains and the cliffs. Full scale. Boom, gone. Little did I know what I was in for. So, meanwhile, I decided that I needed to stop. I was having brain fog. I was feeling like I was disconnected. I was having trouble memory. I was just in this fog all the time. So I decided at the same time, around the pineal fork time frame, that I was going to stop the diet soda that I've been drinking. I never drank coffee. Night shift for 20 plus years, and I couldn't drink coffee. So I drank soda. So I cut cold turkey on that. I always worked out at the gym, so I was pretty sound nutritionally. Used to eat a lot of salads and vegetables, and did eat some white meat, chicken and stuff like that. But I went ahead and I started doing, I can't do fast. I can't fast. I can't fast to save my life. No, can't do that. I also can't do these heavy metal diets, things like that. So what I did what worked for me. So I went and got some bentonite clay. I made myself some bentonite capsules, the food grade, of course. And then I took a product called zeolite, and I just started using that. And I use my tuning fork regularly. I just had my tuning fork, and I would listen, and I would visualize opening up my pineal gland. Your pineal gland is connected to your third eye, which is here in the energy world. And I remember one day I was sitting there on the couch, and I was looking outside the window, and I was using my pineal fork, listening and visualizing, setting the intention. And all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, what am I seeing out there? All of a sudden the trees that I was looking at were, the only way I can describe it, they were digital. And I'm like, what is going on? It looked almost like the Hunger Games when Katniss shot her arrow up into the grid and they saw all the digital, the malfunctioning. Well, that's what I was seeing. And I was seeing it in bits and pieces. It wasn't all the time. I was like, what is going on? So I went ahead and I contacted the eye doctor and set an appointment. And they looked at my eyes and said, oh no, they're great, they're healthy, no worries. So I'm like, okay. So I posted on there. I found this website and I posted and said, hey, I can't remember what it was on Telegram now. But anyway, so to the group, hey, does anyone else have this visual problem? And someone said, congratulations, you opened your pineal gland. I was like, what the shit? And they explained to me, I asked them, can you elaborate for me? And they said, well, you have crystals inside your pineal gland. And what was happening was the light was bouncing off of it. And your pineal gland is connected to your optic nerve. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then everything became a whirlwind. My intuition went through the roof. My gifts started flowing, coming back to me. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy ride. And I went to use this channel to explain my freight train of a ride. I think that there are many of us who are being tossed into the deep end, so to speak, because there's things we need to learn very, very quickly. And our guides, every one of us has guides. You can call them angels, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them. We all have them. They're here to protect us, to guide us. I feel like there are many of us who are like me and are given the fast track, and it's very overwhelming sometimes. And as much as our guides try to help us, sometimes we just can't, So I'm going to create this channel so that others like me, I know that we're not out alone, and I want to show you my progression, and I want other people to show me their progression throughout this whole process. There are many who have light code videos and energy work videos and things like that. I want to make this a channel of experiences, and I'm gonna leave you with an experience, for an example of what I'm talking about. Things that make you realize that there's something way bigger going on than we could ever imagine. And then, yeah, it'll be up to you whether you want to follow me or submit your own story to me. But throughout my lifetime, I didn't really realize what to call them, but I used to call them assignments. I used to feel like the big man gave me assignments. And one of my assignments was a patient who I grew very close to. I used to work in an infusion center at the time, and he was like the cat with 9 lives. I got very close to him and his family, and he had some issues breathing. I don't really want to go into too much in his history and stuff like that, or mention his name because, HIPAA violations, and it's not fair to that person. But I'm just going to give you the gist of the story. So I kept getting these messages that this person needed to write letters. He had teenage daughters, and that he needed to write these letters to his girls. And because there were times when we would 911 him, like he would be an emergency, and we didn't know whether he was going to pull out or not. He was like the cat with 9 lives. Anyway, but I kept hearing that he had to write these letters to his daughters, and I would be like, "Yo, so, I'll help you write these letters. That way, if you pass away all of a sudden, these letters will help your girls through their grief, things like that. Thinking nursing perspective, all that stuff." And he would always say no. And at the time I didn't realize it, but if he had written those letters, it would be admitting his mortality. And now I get that. Now I understand why he wasn't interested in doing it. So a few months later, I get a call. And at that time, my children were living with their dad. I was getting divorced, and I was picking them up for the weekend. And this person called and said, "Hey, Denise, I'm ready to write those letters now." And I was like, "Buggets, sorry, I can't do that today. I can do it on Sunday when I drop my kids off, but I can't do that tonight. I'm sorry." And they understood. And they said, "Okay, well, we'll do it Sunday." So I went ahead, and Sunday morning came, and I got a phone call from his wife, hysterical, because now they're full-blown coding him. Defibrillator, the works, the drugs, everything. Full-blown code. She's hysterical. I'm like, okay. I'm like, shit. I never wrote those letters. Fudge sickles, okay? Like, I felt this big. So I drive my kids back to New Jersey to their dad, and I tell his wife that I'm coming, that I'm on my way. I'm going to drop my kids off in New Jersey. I'm going to come because they be there for their daughters, so that whatever Sharon had to do, I could be there for the girls. So I went ahead and went, and yeah, he pulled out. He survived it. Cat with 9 lives. Of course he survived. Who would have thought? Anyway, so I get to the hospital, and I have my laptop, and I'm sitting there with the person and his wife, and 3 hours of both him and his wife reliving their memories of their girls growing up. The crying, the laughter, it was this emotional roller coaster that we went through, and of memories. And then, his wife left, and we wrote her a letter. And I remember walking out of the hospital, and when we got all done, and looking up at the sky and being like, "Okay, big man, I'm done. I'm emotionally fried. I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this." So fast forward to today, I don't even know, 8 years later. I don't even know how many years it's been now. And he's still alive. And I'm like, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, I saw a posting on his Facebook page. And he posted how never in his life would he have ever thought that he would see his girls graduate college, you know, being engaged, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden it hit me. Those letters were not meant to be written that Friday. They weren't meant to be written 3 months before that. They weren't meant to be written a year before that. They weren't even for his daughters. Those letters were actually written for him because his purpose wasn't done yet. He was still meant to be here. Those letters were meant to be written that day, Sunday, so he could see what all he still had to live for, because he was still meant to be here. And he was, you know, his soul was ready to check out. And by going back through those letters, by writing those letters and going back through all those memories, he realized what all he still had to live for. And I was like, whoa, blew me away when I realized that. So I have many more stories to tell you, many more things to say, and I would love for you to join me, and I would also love to hear you too. I'm going to post a link down below, an email. I would love it if you would email me your stories too, and I will share them. There's more. You know, some people want to call us Lightworkers, some people want to call us starseeds. People are bashing us now, saying we're crazy, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. It's a label. There's many of us going through something that we can't explain. We can't explain to anybody else but those that are going through it along with us. That's what this channel is for. I was told by my guides, be raw, unfiltered. I am raw and unfiltered, as they requested. So join me, please. Hit the button. Share your experiences with me as I share mine with you. There's way more going on in this universe than so many people don't realize. We do. We do. Thank you.